every Maine business adds value to our state. Diversity adds strength and beauty to our communities. We each have different journeys with a common goal: to prosper and contribute to a vibrant, thriving future in Maine, all to help strengthen the economy. Greenlight Maine and Bangor Savings Bank present Elevating Voices, a celebration of Maine's diverse business community.
When you drive through the beautiful landscape of Maine towards the middle of Millbridge, the last thing on your mind is Mexico. But when you arrive, it's easy to see why it's the happening place, Vazquez Takeout, where authentic Mexican food is made each day for Maine people. What made your family decide to move to Maine?
My parents decided to move to Maine because they were migrant workers. So they were migrating from Florida to Michigan every year, doing different crops from apples, oranges, and then some other vegetables. So they got invited by a friend of them to come to Millbridge to do sea cucumber factory work. And they had heard that it was something that they could potentially settle, that it was something that they could do year round and settle here. So they decided to come up from Florida to work at the sea cucumber factory.
How old were you at the time?
When we came, it was in 1997, 98. So I was like 9, 10 years old. Yeah, I started 4th grade here at the Millbridge Elementary School.
What was it? Tell me about that. What was it like for you to move to Maine?
We had never really started and ended a school in one location. So we would always start school like in Michigan or Florida, and then we would migrate in the middle of the year, so we would end in a different school. And in a lot of the schools there's a lot of Latino population, so our teachers spoke Spanish. There were more Spanish kids with us in the school. When we got to Maine, there was nobody. There was very few Spanish-speaking students. There was no ESL teacher. There was no teachers that spoke Spanish, so we were like with all just white kids in the classroom. But it was just us. We had no ESL teacher to help us until there was more families that came, and they hired an ESL teacher to support in the schools.
Did you speak any English at the time?
I was born in Mexico, and I migrated to the United States when I was 5. So I knew a little bit from being in school in both of the schools, but I wouldn't say like I was proficient in English, because just being with a lot of Latino students and my teacher speaking Spanish, like I was learning English, but it was until here that I really learned it, like I had to learn it to be able to do good in school and to be able to, because there wasn't a lot of support in the Spanish.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now let's fast forward to now. What's it like for all the kids in your family when they go to school?
Well, right now, half of the classroom in like kindergarten and some of the classroom are Latino kids. Like in my daughter's class right now, out of 20, I think it's 20 or 21, I think there's 8 Latinos in that classroom. So there's a lot more of children that speak their language that they can relate to, that they can see speaking Spanish. They've also hired a community member that graduated from here that speaks Spanish, so she's the ESL teacher as well. So they hired someone as part of the community who's Latino to work at the school. So that is also a big change for the school system, that when I was here, there was nobody there.
People tell us that this takeout restaurant has changed this community and brought everybody together. How does that make you feel?
It makes me really proud to be part of this family and to be part of the community. Like I mentioned, it was really hard for us because like we never really found a place that we could settle and like call like, oh, this is our house, like this is our home, until we got to Maine. Because before we were migrating from house to house, we didn't have a settled place until we got here. So being part of this community and being like now raising my kids here, it feels really good to be part of the community and to be supporting the community as part of the business that my mom and my parents started, and to be able to help them get it to how it is now. Because before we started just selling out of our truck, we were just selling to migrant workers, bringing it to the fields and selling food, and then we went from there to a bus, to a really small bus. And we started there selling food and in our house. And we did that for a couple of years. We also went to a couple of fairs, at like the Blue Hill fairs and stuff. We did that for years. And then my mom had always dreamed of having a place like a takeout or a restaurant that she could sell food out of. That was something that she really wanted to do. So we were looking in different places, like we were looking in Machayas and like Cherryfield. My dad even looked up in Ellsworth, like at different locations. But my mom she never really liked any of them until she saw this was like an old house that was here. And the lady was putting up the sign for sale. So my mom, we were driving down, and my mom's like, that would be a good place for the restaurant, for the takeout. This is where we settled. This is where like we're gonna build the restaurant. Like this is gonna work out. So it was just like, it was like the perfect location to be able to start and build the restaurant.
Nice.
I have been coming here for about 4 years since I moved up here. It's a very great place to come eat lunch. You have to call ahead because usually there's a really long line, but the tortillas are really, really great, and the salsa is just amazing.
This restaurant has done a lot, especially for like the community. It's more like it brings other people from other places, like anywhere around. I've seen plates from New Jersey, Virginia, plates from all over the United States, basically. And the community has done a lot of help, especially with like schools and stuff. Like Millbridge, we have a Millbridge Elementary School, and they donate a lot of like food or events. When they donate a lot of their food and stuff. So it's pretty good. It has helped a lot.
What advice would you give people from diverse backgrounds in different countries that are moving to Maine to make it their home?
I think that for me, and now just being like here, I think one of the advice is like, I think that there is like community out there. I think that just in terms of like there's a lot to do. So I think we had like a dream that we were like we started small, and we kept just going and kept going. So I think to not give up and to continue into what they want to achieve, because I think that it is possible, and Maine has a lot of opportunity, and I think that that's how we saw it, and we're here. So.
Bangor Savings Bank, committed to investing in its employees, customers, and communities to help create a stronger Northern New England. Bangor Savings Bank, you matter more.
Hannaford Supermarkets, celebrating the diversity of its employees, customers, and communities, and committed to fostering a welcoming environment. Together, they're greater than groceries. Learn more at hannaford.com.
Martins Point Generations Advantage, offering comprehensive Medicare Advantage plans. Information at martinspoint.org.
So to start off the day, my parents get up really early in the morning, usually depending on the season, so between 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and they start making the tortillas. So all of the flour tortillas are homemade. So they start rolling out the tortillas, usually between like 150, 200 tortillas. Sometimes they have to make more depending on the day. So they roll out the tortillas, they put all the meat to cook, so the chicken, the beef, las carnitas, la barbacoa, everything is freshly cooked in the morning. And then around like 7:38, my sisters arrive, and they start preparing like all the vegetables and preparing all the other stuff to get together, to get everything ready. And then usually between like 10, we have people waiting for us to open the doors. So they usually start coming in, ordering. The phone starts ringing. So we have orders starting usually between like 10:30. And then at the end of the day, we don't usually stop until the last customer is here. Like if there's people at the window, we continue to serve them until we're done. So sometimes it's late because especially during like blueberry season, we have a lot of migrant workers that come at the end of their shift in the Blois, so they come down and they usually are here till 7:30, 8, so we're still serving them until we're done. And it kind of reminds me of when we were up in Wyman's in the camp, when we used to set up the bus. We were there from 4 o'clock in the morning serving breakfast to then serving lunch at the fields, and then serving lunch for the factory workers that were coming out, and then preparing for dinner. And we were open until sometimes 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, until everybody was done eating and served. So that was a long day, and my mom still continues that here because she doesn't want like the people that have been with her since she started, because she started working, serving the migrant community and the people that were here for blueberries. She still serves them here, and they still follow her here. They come every year. They come and see her here. She's still in this place.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way your family operates. It's like a true team.
Number 3. Yeah, it's a team of everyone. Everybody helps out with everything. We have like the youngest ones coming in. Sometimes they clean the tables at the end, or everybody is always pitching in to do something. In the mornings or at the end of the day, everybody comes and is always helping out doing something. But yeah.
Yeah, really nice family. Yeah.
Every year, we offer ice cream to like child cares or schools in that area. So we have the local Millbridge Elementary School come every year, and the school, they all get a free ice cream. So in the morning, it was Rayitos de Sol. So it's a bilingual childcare program from Mano en Mano. And they came to get free ice cream as part. So that's one of the things. We also support any other fundraisers or donations that are happening in the community. So people reach out, like sometimes they're doing some kind of fundraiser to support someone else. So we give to that as well. And sometimes they also ask us in the schools to give some food for like the kids, or if there's a celebration, to share some of the stuff that we do. So that's some of the other things that we do as well.
Nice.
I mean, my hope is that the business continues, and that our kids continue to learn the cooking of my parents, and that it continues to be part of this community in whatever way. So even if we can't do the full, but that it continues to be part of the community and continues to grow.
What is the best part of all of this?
I think the best part for me is that it's family. It's family owned. It's like all of our kids like come, like they see the work. They see they are part of the community. They see people in the community. Like we give to the community, so it's like a family. It's like a family community. So I think that to me is like one of the best things. And it's my mom, my sister. Like our kids are growing, they're working here, so it's all like family. So to me that's very strong, and that has always been really strong for us. It doesn't seem like work because we're all like just together. So
you can tell you all get along and you all have a lot of fun together.
Yeah. ¿Cómo se sienten cuando viene gente de alrededor de todo el estado a comer aquí de su comida?
Bien, porque me busca.
Contentos porque les gusta la comida, ¿no? Y todo. Llegan aquí y se van contentos todos los que vienen aquí.
Puritan Medical Products has been manufacturing in Guilford and Pittsfield, Maine for more than a century. They responded quickly to the pandemic, shipping test swabs for people worldwide. Recognized for innovation and focus on the future. Puritan Medical Products.
Albin, Randall, and Bennett, committed to providing accounting solutions to Greenlight Maine startups, working with businesses and organizations that operate locally and nationally. ARBCPA.com. First Park, a 285-acre business park located in Oakland, Maine, offering fiber internet, 3-phase power, and pre-permitted sites for businesses to start or expand. Details at firstpark.com.
This is just the beginning. This is a start. You have to start somewhere.
Dennis Ross began working in the broadcast industry more than 2 decades ago in San Diego. In 2005, he moved to Maine and became founder, owner, and operator of WJZP Radio in Portland. We caught up with him at one of his favorite places.
Where are we and why are we here?
So we are now, I guess they call this Midtown Portland, and the place that we're at is the Urban Farmer Fermentary. And what they do is fermented tea, which is kombucha. So we started here with doing events, and we now do several events throughout the year here. So I just wanted to, as part of what I'm doing, to showcase, their dedication and their commitment to the community.
This place means a lot to you.
It does.
Let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Did you always want to own your own radio station?
Not always. It wasn't, it wasn't like a childhood dream. I always wanted to be a professional basketball player, but that didn't happen. But I never had those thoughts of owning my own radio station. Now we organically are growing, and so this was an organic thing. And this is what I love about Maine as well too, and Portland per se, is because the opportunity that I was given to be able to apply for a FCC license couldn't have happened anywhere else in the country. And it was able to happen here. And the reason why it was able to happen here is because at the time, 20 years ago, the bandwidth was not oversaturated. It's oversaturated now. It's to where there's no more, room in terms of where you can put a frequency. And so yeah, and that's the thing about, Portland as well too, is I think Maine, is there's a lot of opportunity here. You just have to find that niche that has not been exploited yet, so to speak.
Was it hard for you to find that niche?
No, the niche kind of found me. And I say that is because we program mass appeal. Is to where we try to appeal to the masses, but we also pay tribute and homage to musicians of color. We started out as a jazz station, primarily jazz. But what we found is to where, we needed to broaden that base. So now, we're a variety of, jazz and funk and blues and R&B and gospel. But there's a thread between them all. Yeah, so the niche kind of found us.
Was there a moment that you knew this was going to work out?
I always knew it was going to work out. And the reason I always knew it was going to work out is because we DBA as WJZP, but the company's name is All Inclusive. And the reason why I picked All Inclusive is because I knew that, Maine was 99%, white, which is fine. But I wanted, a radio station that gave the emphasis that everybody was included, even though we play primarily music of color. But I just wanted the inclusiveness to be felt. I wanted to build a hub, so to speak, is to where people of color, felt comfortable in participating. And we're a nonprofit again, we're member supported. And as a result of that, the outreach of people that actually enjoy what we do has been tremendous. As a nonprofit organization, WJZP seeks support by listener donations, membership dues, program underwriting, and grants from charitable foundations.
So many people that live in this community that want to hear these kind of tracks, that at nighttime when there's jazz or, funk sessions and stuff like that. There's so many people that just don't have access to that other than just playing their own tracks at home and stuff like that. But that gets kind of boring, you know what I mean? Because you know what the next song's gonna be, you know what you put in. But just to have that element of surprise on what the next song's gonna be, it's just, there's nothing like it. And eventually over the years, the early years that I was here, I met up with Dennis Ross, and he started WJZP, and I thought it was a great idea. And so eventually, we hooked up, and he said, well, Ray, you have been one of the most famous DJs in the city of Portland, and the state of Maine. So like, why don't you just do some shows for me? Why don't you, come on and do some live sets for me and stuff like that? I said, no problem, I'd love to do it. And yeah, it was very successful. Got a lot of great feedback, and yeah.
What was it like when you first moved to Maine 20 years ago?
Maine reminds me of San Diego 30 years ago. The quality of life, and I say quality of life because San Diego quality of life 30 years ago was similar to what Maine is right now because the population wasn't there. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. I run. I'm a runner, and I run every day or every other day on really popular, what they call the boulevard. It surrounds the city, or you can run around the entire city about 3.5 miles. And sometimes when I'm out there, there's nobody but me. And San Diego, you can't do that. I mean, it's overpopulated. And even though, and the thing with Maine, I mean, Portland on the peninsula, you can't have many more than 100,000 people. And as a result of that, that leaves a lot of room for you to be able to still have individual time or, quiet time in terms of, taking in nature and, interested on the boulevard, on Back Bay Boulevard. There's, in the trees, there's bird houses that people actually made, that are hanging from the tree limbs for birds to actually be able to, live. And so, it's that kind of thing, it's just to where Mainers and, are pretty cool people, I think, and really down to earth. There's nothing pretentious, about Mainers. It is what it is. And I think it affords you whether, so to speak, for lack of better, terminology, you can keep up with the Joneses if you want to, but you don't have to, and still be accepted for who you are. Has been my experience.
When I first came to Maine, I've been here 7 years, came from New York. I was working at a small agency, and I met him. And he introduced himself, as he always does. He was like, hey, I'm Dennis, listen to my radio station. I was like, okay. Really nice guy, really friendly, very welcoming, which is so needed at the time because I was like fresh out of New York, didn't know anyone. And he was just so friendly, and we just became friends instantly from there. And I've known him ever since. And the second year, he was like, hey, I have this radio station. Do you want to help me? I was like, I don't know a thing about radio stations, but I'm happy to help. And we've been pretty much together on this journey ever since. He is an amazing person. He's connected with so many people. He's very integrated in the community. He's been here forever, so he knows everybody that needs to be known. And he was just very supportive. He was like, hey, you're a person of color. You need to be connected. I was like, okay. And he was just like, been like a mentor ever since. So I absolutely enjoyed meeting him, and he's just been an integral part of me being able to connect with other people in the community as well.
What can Maine do to attract more people of diversity?
Okay, and I laugh because I don't really think Maine has a problem in attracting people of diversity. I think the problem is to where the infrastructure is not in place to keep them here when they get here. This is a hard place not to love once you come and visit. But it becomes difficult when you're used to a certain lifestyle and certain needs that you actually that you need in order to sustain yourself, and that you can't get here on a whole lot of different levels. And it's here, but you really have to look for it. You really have to hunt. And there's more people here of color than it appears to be. But we're not clustered in one area. We're all over the state. And as a result of that, there's been no real mechanism to bring us all together. And that was part of one of the missions for the station as well, is to become a hub to bring people together, because it doesn't matter with the stream, you know, if you're in Augusta or if you're in Bangor, I mean, you can still get, you know, the feel or the flavor that we're trying to, you know, present out there that, in representing Maine and the state, and Portland and the state. People of color have disposable income. You know, people of color eat lobsters. People of color ski. People of color, you know, ride bikes, you know, enjoy the water. So yeah, I just want people to understand, you know, how great a place this is. It really is.
Northern Light Health, because we're all Mainers. And making healthcare work for you includes providing care to more Mainers. Innovations in ways you can access care when and where you need us. northernlighthealth.org.
Maine Technology Institute, offering grants, loans, and equity investments to help support Maine's innovation economy and committed to supporting new ideas with potential to grow. Visit mainetechnology.org.
FAME came along at a time when we really needed somebody to believe in our mission.
It's so nice to have somebody actually try to understand what we're doing.
FAME helps Maine businesses and lenders get to yes for their financing needs.
Thank you, FAME.
Thank you, FAME.
Thank you, FAME.
It's always been about helping people realize their dreams. And so I think a show like this helps people understand that they have a dream and it can be realized. So that's why we want to be part of Greenlight. That's why we want to make sure that this show exists, because it then not only inspires the people in the show, but I'm hoping that some people at home watching it get to understand that, hey, I got an idea, I got a dream, maybe I can realize it.
It was nice of me to have someone like you guys come over and do videos. It's like you feel like famous. That it's a nice experience.
Thank you so much. I'm honored. I really am. It's been a pleasure. I don't want this to end.